Okay, Science Double Award Biology Paper 1 2002 questions solved. Let's get into it. What would happen to the cells in a piece of peeled potato tissue if it was placed in distilled water for 45 minutes? So first we identify our keywords here: the cells, potato, and distilled water. So I wrote a little something here. So what we did like before we attempt the first, you have to identify your keywords. Cell. Somehow I mentioned a potato, water, distilled water specifically. So those are our keywords: cells, potato, and distilled water. So let's think. So potato cells here, we know that potato cells are plant cells. The animal cell, potato cells are plant cells. And what do we know about plant cells? They have a vacuole and they have a cell wall. So vacuole, cell wall, these are identifying cell parts. These cell parts identify a plant cell. Animal cell. So these plant cells, these parts here identify a plant cell. They differentiate a plant cell from an animal cell, because animal cell has a vacuole. If it has a vacuole, it's a small and temporary vacuole. An animal cell doesn't have a cell wall. So the first keyword, this keyword here, potato, tells me what we are dealing with plant cells. And so in my answer, I'm probably going to have vacuole, less cell wall. Okay, water. What can I say about water here? Water is going to move by osmosis into the cell. What is going to happen? There's going to be movement of water. Osmosis. But this assumes what we saw osmosis again. So what is osmosis? So we are now putting it all together. Answer some thinking behind it. We identify the keywords, not struggling for your answer. So you are putting it all together now. Osmosis is the process through which water molecules move from a region of high water potential to a region of low water potential until they are evenly distributed. So I think here there has to be a cell membrane in here, a selectively permeable membrane. So osmosis is the process through which water molecules move from a region of high water potential to a region of low water potential. And then here, through a selectively permeable membrane, there has to be a membrane involved for your answer osmosis to be correct, to be accurate. Through a selectively permeable membrane. That's the definition of osmosis. Once more, remember why we are doing all this. Identify the keywords: cell, the plant cell, vacuole, cell wall. Water, cancer, osmosis. Putting it all together now relevant the definition of osmosis. And so let's look at a diagram here. This is our plant cell. In the vacuole, the largest part in the plant cell. Even the cell wall. Okay, those are identifying things. They differentiate this from an animal cell. Some defined shape, a rigid shape here, a definite shape. It's a shapeless, it's a some definite shape, which is a plant cell, because this cell wall here gives the plant cell its shape. So how am I linking this plant cell here to osmosis? Vacuole, if we see functions of the parts of the vacuole, vacuole low water potential. Vacuole compared to vacuole is concentrated because it has salts in it. Vacuole, how a function of vacuole, it stores cell sap. So cell sap with the nutrients, mineral ions, so cell sap is concentrated. That's why so there's low water potential inside the vacuole because less cell sap, which has salts in it. But then is dilute. metsi a mantsi go hitisa mo teng ka. So osmosis ya re metsi a go move from the high water potential ko metsi a leng teng a le mantsi teng, the distilled water, metsi a go move from here into the cell. Answer ra rona be nna C. The cell would become turgid. So ra go explain kganya teng. So movement ono sekgwa se siameng sa re there will be an influx of water due to osmosis kana by osmosis into the cell from the container. Hane metsi a tswela ko nteng ka bele outflux. So now there will be an influx of water by osmosis into the cell from the container. So re bua ka vacuole ke mentioneng neng ke highlight thatele. This vacuole will increase in volume and apply pressure on the cell membrane, causing it to stretch and touch the cell wall. So pressure e bitswa go temperature e bitswa go ke turgor pressure. Remember our answer here is ke gore the cell will become turgid. And so go make sense gore be mention pressure e bitswa go ke turgor pressure. So at this point the cell is said to be turgid kana firm. So we read this question in bua ka di cell. What would happen to the cells? Re buile ka cell go ha ke plant cell because it's a potato. Go ha re na distilled water, high water potential, metsi a mantsi compared to the vacuole. And so mo diagramong you have to understand why vacuole is more concentrated, because in it contains cell sap. So distilled water here it has high water potential. Kalangu ka mantswe mangwe ra re dilute. Ga re sa batla gore low water potential ra re concentrated. Ga re sa batla gore high water potential ra re dilute. Concentrated solution metsi a mannyane teng, dilute solution metsi a mantsi teng. Answer ra rona ke C. There will be an influx of water by osmosis into the cell from the container. Vacuole ya go increase in size. Vacuole ke lebele some size here. Metsi a tsena into the cell. Vacuole increase in size. Ga increase in size, it increases in volume. It occupies more space in the cell. E be apply pressure on the cell membrane, causing it to stretch and touch the cell wall. Cell wall re buile gore it gives the cell shape. Gona na re kgakole gape gore cell wall it protects the cell from mechanical damage. Cell rena ga yana go thubega ya go tala ka metsi e be nna turgid e nna firm due to what? Turgor pressure. So ke yone eo.